Hey Frag fam, Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 10 playful warm weather fragrances. So these are fragrances that have a citrusy side to them, maybe like an aldehydic, airy side, or like a C notes, kind of oceanic vibe to them. But they also have a playful, sweet, succulent side as well. So a little bit more versatile because of that, and they're going to be great for this upcoming spring and summer. So if you guys are interested in hearing about these 10 fragrances, please stick around. But first, let's roll that intro. All right, welcome back. So we're not gonna hesitate here. We're gonna jump straight into the list. Again, 10 warm weather playful fragrances. Starting us right off at the number 10 spot. There's no honorable mentions today. This one is from Jean Paul Gaultier, and it is Le Mal Eau Fraîche. And this is at the number 10 spot just because I only picked this up within the last week or so I'm not super familiar with it. I have worn it once so far, but from that wearing, I can definitely tell you that this is perfect for the warm weather, and you would hope so with the name Eau Fraîche. So this takes the original Le Mal DNA, which is known for lavender, mint, vanilla, and then it replaces that lavender with clary sage, which is still kind of an aromatic floral note. You can kind of get a lavender vibe from it. It comes across a little bit different though, but you still kind of get that aromatic, creamy, sweet side to this fragrance, which you have in the original Le Mal. What this one changes things up with is it adds some aldehydes, which gives it this kind of light, airy effect, just makes it, like, in my opinion, push out a little bit better. But you also get some ambroxan in here and then sage. So the ambroxan isn't super detectable. I don't get like an ambroxan note per se. I think it just helps with the longevity on this fragrance, which for me was pretty decent for the wearing that I had it for. And then the sage, in my opinion, is really kind of what makes this thing sweet. You see sage in fragrances like the Y line from Yves Saint Laurent, so Y Eau de Parfum, Y Live, etc. They all use sage as their main player note, which gives them that sweetness. And you get kind of that similar sweetness here. This kind of has like a bubblegum sweetness, very specific. And when I say bubblegum, again, I don't mean similar to the Y line or Invictus, for example, but like actual like pink chewing bubblegum. So a very playful sweet side, but again, it is quite refreshing. You don't get a ton of citruses in this fragrance, but what I really think makes it light is those aldehydes. It just kind of opens this thing up, makes it a little bit airier. And again, this is just a lighter version of the original with a bubblegum note as well. So a great warm weather playful fragrance at the number 10 spot. Again, that was Jean Paul Gaultier Le Mal Eau Fraîche. Next at the number 9 spot, we have a fragrance that I really enjoy a lot. This thing catches a little bit of flack from the community, particularly on the YouTuber side of things. You don't see a lot of YouTubers mention it in their videos. And again, that's just because of the stigma that goes along with this fragrance. This one is from Creed, and it is Aventis Cologne. So the stigmas that this thing has, basically there seems to be two sides. People either say it's a redundant purchase to the original Aventis, so it's not really worth owning, or they say that it's a money grab and it's just a lesser, more watered down version of Aventis. I don't agree with either of those, mostly because, again, I do not think this is a redundant fragrance. It really does separate itself enough from the original Aventis. Yes, it has the Aventis DNA in there, and you can detect it, and you can tell that it is a flanker of that fragrance, but it does not smell the exact same. And then on the other side, the money grab thing, you know, it probably was a money grab, let's be honest, but companies make perfumes to make money, you know, so any perfume they put out, it's a money grab, you know, they're trying to sell it. So I don't think that a money grab is like a good thing to knock this thing about just because, you know, they always do that with fragrance. That's just the point of making products for anything, not just in fragrance. Additionally, this doesn't smell like a lesser version or a watered down version. Again, it's just a different DNA. As far as the performance goes, no, this is not an eau de cologne. This is an eau de parfum. They just call it cologne to basically say that it is a fresher version of the original. I get about 8 hours with this, which is about what I get with Aventis. It really depends on the batch, honestly, for me, but in general, I do get about 8-ish hours with Aventis, and again, that's what I get with this one right here. So it is a good performer regardless of the lighter, airier nature to this fragrance. And speaking of that, what this one is really about is it has a lot of mandarin orange and ginger at the top. It has removed the bergamot and then the pineapple. So it's just a different kind of citrusy take on the fragrance. It is a little bit on the sweeter side. The pink pepper here gives it kind of a light spiciness, but it's really more on the creamy side. And that creaminess mixes with the sandalwood, giving you, again, just a little bit more creaminess. So this is definitely a little bit on the creamier side of the two, but it is a lot lighter and airier. And like I said, this one is a little bit sweeter as well, which is why I think it fits into this video well. It is a slightly more playful, yet warmer weather version of Aventis. Again, I think this is a great fragrance. If you guys have not tried it, again, it's not redundant in my opinion. Yes, it has the Aventis DNA in there, but they do not smell the exact same. So again, at the number 9 spot, that was Creed Aventis Cologne. Next, at the number 8 spot, we have a really good playful warm weather fragrance that's on the cheap end. This is something you can find for under $30 for a 4.2 ounce size bottle, and this stuff smells really, really nice. This one is from Shawn John, and it's called 3 AM. And the caps on these are super snug. I struggle every single time I have to take it off. But anyway, what this fragrance is about is it has this nice kind of gin and tonic boozy note in the base. It has a nice little playful sweetness at the top from some cardamom, and then you get bergamot and then mandarin orange, giving you that lighter, crisper, citrusy touch that makes this thing perfect for the warm weather. There is some greener notes in here like fig leaf, so it does have a little bit of this herbaceous quality, but it really focuses more on those citruses and then that gin and tonic kind of boozy note. And not an overly complex fragrance, but it smells really nice. It doesn't smell like a bargain bin kind of fragrance, you know, it doesn't come across screechy or chemically. I think it smells quite nice. Not to mention this has the best atomizer in the game, which I will actually show you guys. And as you guys can see, it's pressurized, and man, that was almost too much juice. It's like floating around, man, that smells amazing. So anyway, like I said, a really good atomizer, similar to the atomizers you see in the Dior Homme line where it's pressurized and you can control how much juice comes out. And then again, this stuff just smells fantastic. So if you want a nice cheapie for the warm weather that's on the playful side with a really good atomizer, you guys need to check this one out. So again, that was Shawn John 3 AM. At the number 7 spot, we have an old cheapie classic that has now been discontinued. It is still in this video just because the prices are still on the affordable end. I don't know how much longer that's gonna be the case, but for right now, this definitely is something you can find for a good price, and it's worth it for the prices it's going for. This one is from Guerlain, and it is L'Homme Ideal Cologne. And this is such a good cheap fragrance. Like when this thing was going for 25 bucks, that was an absolute steal. Even for the prices it's going for right now, like in the $55, $60 range for the 100 milliliter size at least, I still think that's a good buy because this thing smells very high quality. It's from Guerlain, which is a company that they know how to make fragrances and they know how to make good fragrances that smell really high quality. This thing is no exception. This gives you kind of a lemon meringue pie kind of vibe. It has a ton of citruses at the top, like grapefruit, orange, and then bergamot. And then you get this really nice creaminess from this pink pepper and then this almond. They blend together and they just give you this amazing sweet creaminess mixing with those citruses. And like I said, it just is a creamy lemon meringue pie kind of vibe. That's about as simple as it gets. And of course that is kind of on the playful side. It's sweet, it's creamy, it's very light and citrusy at the same time though. So there's nothing really more that needs to be said about this fragrance. One that you guys definitely need to check out if you haven't yet. Again, that was Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Cologne. At the number 6 spot, we have a brand new release. This just got released a couple of weeks ago and got announced just a little bit before that. This is one that I did a review on. I think it's a really good fragrance. One you guys are definitely gonna wanna be checking out for this upcoming spring and summer. As far as this list, I think it fits perfectly into this particular category of fragrances. This one is from Tom Ford and it is Soleil Brûlant. So, like I said, the newest private blend fragrance, this thing smells really nice. If you've smelled the original Soleil Blanc, that's kind of a vanilla, coconutty, light kind of floral fragrance. It smells almost like suntan lotion in a way. This takes that DNA and completely twists it, mangles it, turns it around, makes it into something different, almost into a gourmand in a way. So this has dominant notes of bergamot, honey, orange blossom, and then amber, along with some woody notes in the base. Regardless of the note breakdown, when I first got this fragrance, what I detected the most was coconut, vanilla, and then caramel. So that's what my nose interpreted from it. And again, those aren't listed in the note breakdown. There is that dominant amber note, of course, which vanilla is a component of amber, but there is no standalone vanilla note. And like I said, there's no coconut listed or caramel listed in this fragrance. I think my nose kind of interpreted the honey as caramel, but again, that's just what I got from this fragrance. So it's coconutty, it's vanillic, it has this creamy sweetness to it with like a caramely touch coming from that honey. It does have a little bit of a lightness to it at the same time. You know, it has that bergamot in the opening, putting this into almost like a fresh territory, not quite. And then as it dries down, you get a little bit of woodiness from it, which again, just makes this thing a little bit more mature and toned down as it dries down. But again, very sweet and creamy with a slight citrusy touch. I think this is a great playful warm weather fragrance. Not something that you're gonna wanna wear in the extreme high heat. This would be way too much in the high heat because it's just so sweet. But on a warmer day in the spring or like a cooler day in the summer, I think this would be a perfect fragrance. And again, it is quite playful because of that sweetness to it. So again, at the number 6 spot, that was Tom Ford Soleil Brûlant. At the number 5 spot, we have a fragrance that I've just been praising ever since I picked this thing up. It has a very simple note breakdown, but that doesn't matter. This thing smells amazing. This one is from Bulgari and it's called Tigar. And this is one of those fragrances where I got a sample, or I tried it rather. I didn't even get a sample. I tried it at a friend's house and I immediately went out and bought a bottle, I think the next day or something. It smelled so good to me. And when I read the note breakdown, it honestly blew my mind. Like, it smells like a fairly complex fragrance. However, there's only 3 notes in it. There's grapefruit, ambroxan, and then woody notes. So very simple. You can tell it's a grapefruit note, and that was actually one of the few notes I was able to detect. It really does smell like grapefruit. However, this is not on the bitter end of grapefruit. This is on the sweeter end, which I really enjoy. And I think that's why it's kind of a playful fragrance. Of course, it has that ambroxan, which gives this thing beast mode longevity. I've gotten up to almost 12 hours wearing this fragrance, 10 hours all day, every day, easy when I wear this fragrance. Again, that's just for me. I can't say everybody's gonna be getting crazy 10-hour performance, but that's what I've experienced with this fragrance. And then it has those woody notes, which aren't super detectable in the opening, but as it dries down, you can kind of get this woodiness from it. I really do think it's dominated by the ambroxan and the grapefruit. The ambroxan just gives it this nice kind of marine freshness. The grapefruit, again, is very citrusy, but sweet at the same time. And then you get that nice woody backbone in the dry down. This is a great smelling fragrance on the expensive end, but if you can find this discounted or even just get a sample to try it, I think it's definitely worth it. This isn't something I can imagine anybody's gonna dislike the smell of. So citrusy, sweet, playful, a little bit woody. Again, at the number 5 spot, that was Bulgari Tigar. At the number 4 spot, we have a fragrance from the Armani Code line. You can probably guess which one it is just because I said that. However, this is perfect for the warm weather. It doesn't get that much love. I think it's a really good flanker though. This is one of my favorites from this line. Again, it's from the Armani Code line, and this one is Colonia. And this is seriously a damn good fragrance. I don't know why people hate on it so much. This has that nice, creamy, spicy tonka bean from the original, giving it that kind of powdery sweetness. However, this takes a bunch of citruses at the top, just ramps those up so you get a nice fresh blast in the opening. This also has amberwood in it, giving it that kind of moderate, faintly woody touch, similar to ambroxan, but a little bit more on the woody side. This also has heliotrope in it, which is really nice. Just gives it this kind of vanillic, almost powdery floral touch. I really dig it a lot in this fragrance. And you do get a faint creaminess with a little bit of spiciness, which I think comes from the pink pepper. This is mostly on the fresh, sweet, powdery side, but again, you do get a little bit of a creaminess at the same time. Honestly, a great fragrance. This is something that you could wear in the high heat because it's fresh, but it does have that Armani Code DNA in there, so it is still quite sweet and powdery, which is why I think it's a perfect, playful fragrance for the warm weather as well. So another fragrance that just fits right into this video perfectly, in my opinion. Again, that was Armani Code Colonia. Next, at the number 3 spot, we have a fragrance that comes from a niche house, and basically this smells like a higher quality version of everyone's favorite shopping mall fragrance. Of course, I'm talking about Parfums de Marley Percival. And then the fragrance that I was referring to, the shopping mall fragrance, of course, is Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. We all know that this is a clone of that fragrance, as well as Mont Blanc, what's it called? Legend, I think. And while they do smell similar, spray this on next to Fierce or spray this on next to Legend, and they do not smell 100% the exact same. You can definitely tell that Parfums de Marley has kind of put their own twist on the DNA. Again, yes, it is similar and you can kind of get that vibe from it, but I do not think they are clone fragrances in the sense that they really smell the exact same. This is more like an inspired by fragrance in my opinion. I also have a tester right here which has all the notes on the back. At the top you have mandarin and then bergamot. Mid you have peony, ice flower, lavender. Base you have amber, nutmeg, coriander, cardamom, and then tonka bean. So honestly, the note breakdown isn't really that revealing to me. Like, I can't look at that and then like pick out all these different notes individually. For me, yes, it is fresh, so those citruses are definitely there. I do get kind of an aromatic touch, so it's definitely believable that there's lavender in here. I kind of did get almost like an ambroxan feel from this fragrance because it has this kind of metallic-y, salty feel to it, and it gets really good longevity as well. So I'd be willing to bet that there is some ambroxan in here. Regardless of that, we all know what this DNA smells like. It's really good, it's fresh, it's a little bit spicy and aromatic. It does have a sweetness to it at the same time, and it is quite masculine. And that's all there's really to be said about this fragrance. So again, at the number 3 spot, that was Parfums de Marley Percival. At the number 2 spot, the fragrance we're talking about, it's from Yves Saint Laurent, and it is Why Oh Fresh. And I enjoy this fragrance quite a lot, honestly. I think it's a good release for this line just because of the 4 fragrances in the line that have been out for a while. I'm excluding Le Parfum because again, that's a brand new release. Not many people have tried it. But again, the 4 main ones that have been out for a while, this is the one that differentiates itself from the most. It's changed the DNA around the most. Of course, the DNA is still detectable here. It is sweet. It has that dominant sage note, giving it that kind of unique sweetness that this line has. However, this focuses more on the lemon, ginger, and then mint. So very citrusy and kind of has this bite to it from the ginger, a little bit of this crisp spiciness, but on the fresher side. The mint is almost like an icy kind of cooling effect here. And while it's not an ultra dominant mint note, I do get a little bit of it. But again, this is really just a brighter and lighter version of the DNA. Again, the sweetness is still there from the sage, which is why it's on the playful side, but this is ultra fresh. You could also put Why Live in this video. That one is pretty fresh as well, but that is a lot sweeter, almost too much so, especially for the high heat, like in the summertime, for example. I think this is a perfect medium of sweetness and then citrusiness and kind of like a lightness. So just a good, well-rounded warm weather fragrance from the Why line, one that is definitely worth checking out. Again, that was Yves Saint Laurent's Why Oh Fresh. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have a fragrance that absolutely blew me away. This is one where I got a sample in and I bought a bottle the same day I tried it. That's how good I thought this fragrance was. This one is from Byredo and it's called Sundays. And damn guys, this smells so good. I really dig this fragrance a lot. This is one where, and I've mentioned this in videos before where I've talked about it, this is one where I'll just catch myself picking it up and smelling the atomizer. I don't even need to spray it because it is a pretty strong fragrance and you can definitely detect it from the atomizer. As far as what it's about, it's not an overly complex note breakdown. There's only 6 notes. I really only pick up about 4 or 5 of them. The main notes are some California lemon, mandarin orange at the top, then there's some white florals in the mid like neroli, and then jasmine, and then the base note, which is the main note, the one that I pick up first, and the unique note, which is cotton candy. And that's really what separates this fragrance. So it has this just sweet, kind of candied, sugary sweetness to it. And I know I said sweet twice, we're just gonna roll with it. But it's very sweet. You get those citruses at the top and the cotton candy and those citruses kind of blend together, giving you almost like this boozy, sweet, fruity cocktail kind of drink. It's not overly boozy or anything like that, but it just smells like a fruity cocktail on the sweet end. The white florals in the mid, again, they're not heavy and powdery or jammy. They're on the fresher, lighter side, and I really do think they aid in this fragrance and just give it this nice, well-rounded nature. And there's really nothing more I can say. This is just a great fragrance. One you should definitely sample because it is fairly expensive. It is a Byredo after all. Again, a great fragrance. Just nothing that I can say bad about this. I really dig this a lot. My only caveat is this is definitely down the middle unisex, if not leaning slightly on the feminine side. So if you're a guy and you have issues wearing fragrances that don't smell ultra masculine, you might want to stay away from this one because again, it's very light and sweet and it has those florals. But again, if you don't have issues with unisex fragrances and you like sweeter, fresher stuff, this is one that's like gonna be right down your alley. Definitely check it out. So again, at the number 1 spot, that was Byredo Sundazed. Well, there you go. Those are my top 10 playful warm weather fragrances. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support. And then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write a comment, just let me know your thoughts as well as maybe some new video ideas or topics, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you have not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be amazing. That way you stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.